with inflation, Social Security does go up, these numbers stay rigid. And so people who are basically living at the same income level as they have before are no longer eligible for the credit at the same time that their property values are going through the roof. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Senator Heigl?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I understand correctly that you estimate about 300,000 Missourians are going to be able to take advantage of this credit?
That is correct.
So that's 300,000 out of more than 6 million Missourians, is that right?
Yes.
So did the other 5.7 million Missourians, are they not in need of tax relief on their property?
Certainly that is something to consider, but we are most focused on certainly the people who are on fixed incomes.
Would you-
that being seniors, people with disabilities, and disabled veterans in this case.
Sure. Would you support if we just expanded this to everybody? That way we could lower the tax burden for everybody instead of just a few?
It would be tricky to do with this particular mechanism to expand it in that way, but certainly always willing to talk about.
Well, if we just got rid of the age limit, that would, or the special definitions of the class in there, we could just apply it to everybody. I mean, if it's good for 300,000 people, wouldn't this be good for 6 million people?
Again, what I'm focused on, what the major concern is people who are living on a fixed income, especially Social Security income alone. And I feel like that is a group
Fixed
of
income,
people.
that's an interesting term. That implies that outside of the class that you're talking about, people don't have relatively set household budgets. Is that what you're implying?
No, that is not what I'm implying,
Okay.
Senator.
So I appreciate the wording. But the reality is, as you said, we have a record tax burden in this state. And probably everybody needs a little bit of tax relief. I just don't understand why we continue to see programs. And actually, you're familiar with the history of this tax credit program. I mean, this tax credit program was actually almost eliminated by the majority in the Senate in my first and second year.
Well,
and
the
now we're
renters
actually talking about expanding it.
renters
Wow,
portion,
we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yes, we sure have.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions for the witness?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Anyone else that would like to testify in favor of the bill, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Senators. Tom Dempsey, registered lobbyist for Catholic Charities, Archdiocese of St. Louis. We agree with the senator, the sponsor, that the law needs updating, and we'd like to go on record in support. I will ask the Archbishop if he wants to support an expansion. Thank you.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing as there are none, thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Anyone else that would like to testify in favor of the bill, please come forward.
Center, am I on? Founded in 1972 in Kansas City, and the replicable model for now 57 Shepherd Centers across the country in 17 states. Kansas City is also the home, I might add, to the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Shepherd Center is a Missouri nonprofit organization that depends on philanthropic funding and grants to honor our elders by celebrating, empowering, and serving older adults in Kansas City, to provide them with the support and services they need to remain in their own homes, and advocacy to help them live safe, healthy, and independent lives. I'm testifying today also on behalf of the Missouri Silver-Haired Legislature, where I serve as the House Majority Leader, and as a Jackson County representative through our Area Agency on Aging, Mid-America Regional Council. Missouri SHL is also the original Silver-Haired Legislature, founded in 1973 and serving as the replicable model for SHLs across the country. Missouri does have a lot about which to be proud for supporting our 1.2 million older adults. KC Shepherd Center's established model of frequent in-home visits provides us a unique eyes-on opportunity to see the condition in which older adults are living, and to provide holistic care to meet nutritional needs, to deal with combat dangerous social isolation, and address safety hazards for about 2% of the cost of long-term care or institutional care. We're also the organization that brought Meals on Wheels to Kansas City in 1973, and we now serve over 1,000 homebound older adults in Kansas City, Missouri. We serve socially isolated and low-income older adults who are 60 or older in Platte, Jackson, Cass, Clay counties in Missouri. 70% of our 3,000 clients are low income. 60% live alone and depend on KCSC for the services they need to stay safe and independent in their own homes. 70% live in zip codes with high occurrences of preventable hospitalizations, and the majority live in zip codes with the lowest life expectancies. We strongly support the passage of SB822. Every day, we hear from older adults whose property taxes have increased while their Social Security, which is often their only income, has not. Many older adults are faced with choosing to pay their housing expenses or prescriptions or food. Just last week, we struggled to help 3 utility shut-off notices since the weather improved and the cold weather rule was lifted, and 3 evictions of older adults, and I believe we can do better. Increasing the circuit breaker tax credit level and tying it to inflation is critical to help low-income older adults, both renters and homeowners, live with the dignity and independence they deserve in the place they call home. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify, and I will answer any questions that you have.
Do we have any questions to the witness? Thank you. Be sure to leave a witness form.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Scott Penn, representing MA4, the Missouri Association of Area Agencies on Aging. We're very much in support of the legislation. I too will check with the Archbishop about the broader potential reductions.
Any questions to the witness? Thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor, please come forward.
Hi there, Laura Loiacono, and I represent the Jackson County Seniors Count Coalition. We are a coalition in Jackson County representing about 50 plus senior serving agencies. I think you've got a great explanation of the Senate bill before you. We're very much in support of that. I wanted to add that Jackson County is currently undergoing a significant demographic change, like many places in the state. Our population is set to nearly double between 2020 and 2030, and so this property tax relief would certainly be helpful to the seniors and people living with disabilities in Jackson County, and will serve as a lifeline to many older adults. Thanks. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Next up in favor.
Mr. Chairman, Brian Colby with the Missouri Budget Project, going on record in favor of this tax relief for those on fixed incomes. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Next up in favor of the bill.
Speaking for us today will be my intern, Sam Choi.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'd like to express my gratitude to the committee chair and the members of the committee for hearing this Senate Bill 822. Paraquat primarily serves the city of St. Louis and the St. Louis County. We're one of the oldest and the largest center for independent living in the state of Missouri. It is unique in the sense that Center for Independent Living is comprised of board of directors and staff, 50% of which who have a disability of themselves. And our center operates primarily on doing outreach, advocacy, community programs, and services. We're strongly in support of Senate Bill 822, sponsored by Senator McCreery. It is important to emphasize the significance that it has on people with disabilities, particularly because, again, people with disabilities are at a higher rate of poverty, about twice as much as people without disabilities. Oftentimes there are higher costs of living associated with that, and then we understand that circuit breaker hasn't been touched in about 15 years or so, since 2008. So we want to better reflect. We do understand that cost of living has changed quite significantly since 2008, and oftentimes there are higher expenses related, particularly around aging population, again with people with disabilities, particularly around transportation, lack of housing, and then again folks who are dependent on that fixed income, because unemployment and underemployment is a significant barrier for people with disabilities. So we're strongly in support. Thank you, and we'll take any questions.
Do we have any questions for the witness? Senator Heigl?
Thank you for being here. So this is probably more of a question for, not for your intern who gave a great speech. Did I remember correctly that you testified in opposition to Senate Bill 733, which is the personal property tax cut? Or did you guys not testify on that?
Is that this year?
It was this year.
I did not.
Okay. But I'm pretty sure you didn't testify in favor of that bill either, if I'm not mistaken.
I did not. We try to stick mainly to things that are very much about people with disabilities.
Okay. But that bill, which would have provided far greater relief, tax relief, to the populations that you're here representing today, I find it odd that you weren't in favor of that bill or didn't testify in favor of that bill, but you're testifying in favor of this bill. Can you explain why the difference? Why you wouldn't support that bill, which actually has more of what you're talking about, tax relief for those populations, than this bill?
Well, I actually didn't notice that bill so much because I focused so much on the ones about people with disabilities, and the circuit breaker's been helping people with disabilities for a long time. Many of them people that I personally know who've been helped by this and who call me to check on the progress of this bill on a regular basis because they need an increase in the amount that this provides. So I have folks barking in my ear about the circuit breaker, and I don't think that I actually noticed the hearing notice for the bill that you're signaling. I should have studied it more, I guess.
It's interesting. I don't have anybody, I have a lot of people barking in my ear about personal property tax. It's strange to me, though, that I always see these tax credit bills, which typically favor one group of citizens over another. How do you propose that we, what is the fiscal note on this, by the way? Do you know what the fiscal note is?
It's 80 something, is that right? Anybody got the number back there? $84 million.
An additional $84 million. Wow. So we could actually, for that amount of money, we could eliminate the lowest bracket of the income tax, which would benefit everybody in this state. But that never seems to enter the equation. Why is that?
Well, I did have a bill years ago that actually would have given a tax cut to 65% of Missourians and not tax anybody more than 2% more than they're paying now, and would have produced money that our state needs for essential programs and services. And I was able to have some hearings on that. So that's something that I love to talk about, and I'd be glad to visit with you as to whether I'll be glad to look at Senate Bill 733 and come and talk with you about whether the Tax Justice for a Healthy Missouri plan that I used to sponsor when I was a state legislator offers more or less than what you offer in 733, if you'd like to have a dialogue about that.
I always enjoy a long dialogue.
I love to talk taxes.
Thank you.
You know, I talk taxes so much that people's eyes just go right back and roll back in their head when I do it.
It's not just you, it's me too. It's okay. Thank you.
You and I love to talk taxes, yeah.
Any further questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Be sure to leave a witness form.
We will. All right. I'll let you guys get up first. All right.
Next up in favor.
My name is Wayne Lee. I'm a disability and civil rights advocate. And I'm here to speak in favor of the bill, Senate Bill 822. The reason I speak in favor of it is because in 2008, I was 56 years old. However, I had a disability. I rented, lived in an apartment, spent a lot of time in this building, though. However, most of the time I was on Social Security disability income. Every now and then I was paid by Centers for Independent Living or certain other groups, but not very much because you can't earn much on SSDI. Anyway, there are many people, though, who are on the disability or who are elderly. And as time went on, up until this date, without any increase in the circuit breaker, they were moved out of their homes, forced to go ahead and go into places where I live now, for example, Hyder Apartments and places like that, Jefferson City Housing Authority, where they have no other place to live. They did have homes, but because the amount of money that was increased in property tax did not coincide with the circuit breaker, they were not given any way to go ahead and cover the increase in property tax. You've heard all of that. But go ahead and keep that in mind before you hit the floor and start talking about it. And consider that seriously. Because just because a person is earning money, earning it with the property tax, they may barely get by, but still they earn a lot more than a person who's on a fixed income. And they have something like property tax increases, but they still are earning enough money to pay that property tax. They may skim by, but at least they skim by. Without the increase in the circuit breaker, as you can see on the income eligibility increase that the bill would bring, many of these people would go ahead and have enough to cover it, and it would be available to them. A person who is living on a fixed income, they're just going to have to go ahead and barely hang on, and it's not easy. What I said to some people once before who were in an authority position, ready to go ahead and get rid of something, cause people trouble. Go ahead and try it yourself for a while, and you'll see what is being talked about here. It's not easy. But I know you're not in a position that's easy yourselves. I know that. But do really seriously consider this for the sake of those individuals. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the witness? Seeing as there are none, thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form.
Right there. Have a good day.
Anyone else that would like to testify in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Mallory Rush. I'm the Executive Director of Empower Missouri. We are the state's oldest and largest anti-poverty advocacy organization in the state. I want to express my support for Senate Bill 822 and thank Senator McCreery for bringing it here today. I think it's important to remember that, this particular tax credit is aimed at a very specific and a very vulnerable population. When we talk about folks who are living on fixed incomes in both the senior community and the disabled community, we're talking about people who largely have either finished their careers and don't have the opportunity for career mobility to, advance, to get a job with a better wage, to get even a cost of living increase, and no ability often to take on additional work to cover what might be these tax increases in property taxes year over year. And the end goal of this legislation is really about keeping people stably housed. It's about preventing homelessness among these vulnerable populations. Our board president at Empower Missouri, Markea Watson, is the executive director at the Greater Kansas City Coalition to End Homelessness, and she gave a report last week indicating that senior homelessness numbers are on the rise in Kansas City, and we've been hearing similar issues in other places. Missouri is already in a position where the number of homeless that we have in our state outnumber the number of emergency shelter beds, getting close to 2 to 1. So we simply don't have the resources as a state to provide additional care for folks who might be unhoused because they're unable to keep up with the increases in property taxes on those fixed incomes. So I think that this is a really important piece of legislation. I also think it's important to remember that this legislation raises the income limit for eligibility in this program, which has also not been updated since 2008. The federal poverty limit for a single person was $10,400 in 2008. In 2024, it's now currently $15,060 for a single person. That's a 45% increase over 16 years, whereas we haven't moved the eligibility thresholds on this particular tax credit at all. So I thank you for your consideration and ask you to please vote yes.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the bill, please come forward. Seeing as there are none, would anyone like to speak in opposition to the bill? Anyone for informational purposes only? Senator, do you have any closing remarks?
I just want to say thank you for the hearing. This bill does have bipartisan support. There are Republicans in both chambers that have filed similar legislation. And then just a plea to my Senate colleagues. I did a town hall with some seniors a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of them were very frustrated that they didn't know about this program. I think it's an amazing program. It's in existence already, so if folks could help spread the word about this, we're starting to get into tax season where a lot of our constituents could benefit from this existing program. So please just help spread the word. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. This concludes the hearing for Senate Bill 822. Next up, we will be hearing Senate Bill 1036. Senator Razer, please begin whenever you're ready. we have any questions for the senator? Seeing as there are none, first up, that would like to testify in favor, please come forward.
Chairman Brown, members of the committee, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak in support of Senate Bill 1036 and the Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit Program. My name's Mark Schreiber. I'm the president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. We're the privately funded nonprofit organization that, among several roles, works to attract and produce major sporting events for the St. Louis region. These events generate significant visitor spending and tax revenue to the benefit of all Missourians. They support jobs in the tourism and hospitality industries, and they truly showcase our state at its best. We were involved in the creation and the original passage of the Amateur Sports Tax Credit Program in 2013. It's been a lifeline for our efforts, and it has been a critical tool for our colleague organizations and communities around the state. Simply put, the Amateur Sports Tax Credit keeps us in the game. It's a difference maker in maintaining our competitiveness in an ultra-competitive industry. Without it, Missouri would miss out on revenue-producing opportunities, as other states have upped their game because they realize the value and the power of sports tourism. Over the last decade, as Senator Razer pointed out, there's been significant visitor delivery. When you factor in the future events we have that come here due to the program, this program's been responsible for attracting more than 600,000 visitors and $500 million in visitor spending. For St. Louis, these include events like the SEC men's basketball tournament, College Wrestling National Championships, and the record-breaking Olympic Gymnastics trials. Without the credit, we can't bring these to Missouri, and the state loses out on the visitor spending and tax revenue they generate. And as Senator Razer mentioned, this program is proven to be sound public policy because the credit is issued only after the event takes place and is based on the actual number of people an event attracts, not projected. The state is ensured of receiving a return on its investment, and it brings new dollars to the state in the best way, attracting people from outside Missouri to spend money in Missouri. I'd like to wrap up just by telling you what has made me most proud of this program. In seeking reauthorization in 2018, we made changes to better ensure that everyone in the state could utilize the credit. And here we are today having great engagement and participation by communities throughout the state. I'm very pleased to be joined today by colleagues representing Branson, Maryland Heights, Springfield, and St. Charles, along with others who couldn't be here today but want to see the program continue, including Columbia, which has a letter of support, Joplin, the Joplin Sports Authority, whose executive director was under the weather and could not be here to testify, and Kansas City, which is, of course, preoccupied planning a Super Bowl parade, but is capably represented by Senator Razer. This has been a model, and this is a model, of how we can all come together and work together to deliver statewide benefit and help Missouri prosper. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions to the witness? Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Next up, they would like to speak in favor of the bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, organization on behalf of Greater St. Louis, Inc. did a great job really outlining all the facts, and we're just here to lend our support to this great piece of legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions to the witness? Thank you very much. Next up, they would like to speak in favor of the bill. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Lance Kettering. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Springfield Area Sports Commission in Springfield, Missouri. We are a 501c6 nonprofit, and I'm here today to speak in support of this bill. The Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit Act is an important tool for all of our cities in Missouri, as it's an important and competitive industry for Missouri. In Springfield, we have used the tax credit for a host of numerous events. This includes the 2019 NAIA Softball World Series, the 2001 USA BMX Gold Cup, and both the 2023 and 2024 USA Pickleball Middle States Regional. And in just a few short weeks, we're going to host the 2024 USA BMX Indoor National Championships. It is a competitive advantage for our state to have this resource available to not only attract quality sports events, but also keep quality sports events from leaving the state of Missouri. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in support of this, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for the witness? Thank you for your testimony. Next up, that would like to speak in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Tara Alfonso. I'm the Vice President of Destination Sales and Sports Development for Branson Chamber and CVB, and I'm here today to testify in support of the reauthorization of the Amateur Sporting Tax Credit, Senate Bill 1036. As my friends have noted already, this benefits the communities throughout the state of Missouri. In Branson, with a population of just over 11,000, we have been more competitive. So that's one of the reasons it strengthens our competitiveness against other cities. For example, a recent one for us is we've hosted the Ken Griffey Jr. 15U World Series for the first time in 2023. This event was hosted in Oklahoma City in 2022, where there's a population of over 1.4 million, and Dallas, where there's a population of over 8.3 million. We were able to compete and get this event in partnership with Heart of America Tournaments and Ballparks of America. We won it for 3 years. This event's a little bit smaller than some of the events Mark mentioned, but it will result in over 1.8 million in direct visitor spending coming into our community, and is projected to bring in over triple the amount that will be given back in tax credits. It will bring that triple that in taxes to our state. The Amateur Sporting Tax Credit also strengthens relationships with area venues and facility partners and enhances our residents' quality of life. With the Amateur Sporting Tax Credit, we can bring in tournaments that require more fields, for example, which encourages our area facility partners to work together to accommodate larger events. For 2024, we've partnered to host Travel Baseball Rankings Mid-South Elite National Championship, which will utilize Ballparks of America, Show Me Baseball, and the Branson High School. As our youth sports tourism industry grows, so do our parks, our fields, our facilities, which increases opportunities for our residents and supports one of the core goals of Branson to create a year-round economy. This Amateur Sporting Tax Credit also ensures that Missouri receives an ROI. As you've heard other representatives note, no funds go out until after the event has occurred, and we have reaped the benefits of those dollars coming into our community. So I just want to thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to testify today, and if you have any questions for me.
Do we have any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave witness form. Next up in favor of the bill, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Senators. My name is Chris Wilson, and I work for the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I am here today in support of Senate Bill 1036. The Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit is a crucial resource for our sports tourism marketplace. We have utilized this cost recovery mechanism several times, and it has afforded us the opportunity to book sports travel business with facility usage from St. Charles City to Wentzville and everywhere in between. The Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit is an invaluable competitive tool in our toolbox, bringing impactful out-of-state business to the St. Charles region. As we continue to source new sports tourism opportunities, we always check to see if the event would be eligible for the Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Next up in favor of the bill.
afternoon. I'm Laura Brand, Sales Director with Visit Maryland Heights. I'm here in support of Senate Bill 1036. The Missouri Amateur Sports Tax Credit was key to hosting events like the U.S. Youth Soccer Midwest Regional Championships and the ACHA National Championships, which resulted in over $22 million in direct spending to our community as well as St. Louis County. The tax credit has also helped secure the ACHA National Championship for future years. I also serve as the coordinator for Show Me Missouri Sports. This is a collaboration of 13 cities from across Missouri that work together to promote the state as a premier destination to host sporting events at different sporting industry trade shows. Many cities from Show Me Missouri Sports utilize this tax credit, and it strengthens Missouri's competitiveness in the sports, tourism, and events industry. Many states have realized the value of pursuing sporting events and have made the investment in attracting those events to their communities. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to testify in favor of the bill, please come forward.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Tracy Kimberlin. I represent the Missouri Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, and for all of the reasons that my fellow colleagues have already mentioned, we are very much in support of 1036. Would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Please be sure to leave a witness form. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the bill, please come forward. Seeing as there are none, anyone that would like to speak in opposition?
Lisa Panett with Armor Vine. I guess there is a lingering question here about the bill. It references eligible costs shall include, and all that has now been stricken from the bill, and it just now, I'm guessing, is just a Pandora's box of anything they want it to be. So that would be a concern that we have, that those costs and what those things could even be are not even listed out. So because of these reasons, we're opposed.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the witness? Thank you very much. Anyone else that would like to testify in opposition? Anyone that would like to testify for informational purposes only? Senator, do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, just in response to that, that was a kind of a bureaucratic nightmare, the way the system was set up with eligible expenses, and so that's been replaced by number of visitors that they bring in. So how many participants are in the event, or how many people are coming to the event, it's a straightforward number that they can show by, you know, a registration spreadsheet, and that's how it will be set up. And I can say we had examples from other cities. The city of Kansas City is about to see the end of its contract with the Big 12 Conference, which does its annual basketball tournament, be coming up in a few weeks. That brings in, I had that right in front of me, about $13.5 billion annually in direct spending in the city and in our state. And with the expansion of the Big 12 Conference going from Utah to Florida, they have a wealth of cities to choose from now. So without this, it would be very difficult to maintain it.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Senate Bill 1036. I now move that the committee goes into executive session. Do I have a second? We are now in executive session. I now move that the committee take up Senate Bill 884. Do I have a second?
Second.
A substitute has been distributed. I move that the committee adopt Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 884. Do I have a second?
Second.
Senator Roberts, would you like to explain the substitute?
Yes, this is the Missouri Revitalization and Main Streets Tax Credit piece of legislation. The substitute is the exact same version that was distributed and we just discussed in committee.
All those in favor of adopting Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 884, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have adopted the Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 884. I now move that the committee vote do pass Senate Committee substitute 884. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any additional discussion from the committee? Seeing as there none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Brown.
Aye.
Senator Esslinger left her vote. She's voting with the chair, which is an aye. Senator Beck. Senator Eigel. Senator Eigel left his vote. He's voting no. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Huff. Senator Roberts.
Aye.
By a vote of 5-1, we have do pass Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 884. I now move that the committee take up Senate Bill 792. Do I have a second? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We've taken up Senate Bill 792. I now move that we do pass Senate Bill 792. Do I have a second? Is there any discussion from the committee? Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Brown.
Aye.
Senator Esslinger left her vote, and she's voting with the chair. Yes. Senator Beck. Senator Eigel left his vote with the chair. He's voting no. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Huff. Senator Roberts.
By a vote of 5-1, you have do passed Senate Bill 792. I now move that the committee take up Senate Bill 894. Do I have a second? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We have taken up Senate Bill 894. Senate Bills 894 as well as Senator Hoskins 826 were rolled together. Substitute 825, sorry. The substitute has been distributed. I move that the committee adopt Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chair, discussion. I just want to thank the senator for I had a conversation today that we added some other stuff that was done in the House, but I appreciate that, and also with Senator Hoskins, I've had good conversations on this bill all along. I've never been a fan of it, so to speak, but you know, just for you, I'm going to go ahead and vote yes in committee on this bill. I don't know what I'm going to do on the floor, but I'm going to do that to let it out here. But I appreciate you working with me on that, and thank you. That was a very good show of bipartisanship.
All those in favor of adopting Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We have adopted Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. I now move that the committee vote do pass Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. Do I have a second? Is there any additional discussion from the committee?
If I could, Senator, Mr. Chair, really quick, what was in that sub was a change, multiple changes that Senator Beck asked for, as he mentioned earlier. Just so we're clear, it's basically all the same, except we're combining the two bills, and we removed a provision that we agreed to with Senator Beck, and then also included provisions for as regards to the environment throughout the bill. So I think these are changes that are good for the bill, and we'll see where it goes from here. But thanks for working with me, Senator.
Any additional discussion? Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Brown.
Aye.
Senator Esslinger left her vote with the chair. She's voting with the chair, which is a yes. Senator Beck. Senator Eigel left his vote. He's voting no. Senator Fitzwater. Senator Huff. And Senator Roberts.
By a vote of 5-1, you have voted to pass Senate Committee Substitute for Senate Bills 894 and 825. I move that the committee now exit executive session. Do I have a second? We have now exited executive session.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn with no further business. Do I have a second? We are adjourned.